From the president looking the other way with Conor's constant run-ins with the law, to still standing by him despite his clear steroid and PED abuse, here's how Dana White is protecting a drug cheat. Look, I know he calls himself the notorious one, but lately, the only thing Conor is notorious for is some shady. Seriously, he's been off the rails, knocking out NBA mascots and getting accused of sexual assault. It's either the fame has gone to his head or the proper 12 in his system's acting up. But I got a feeling it's a little wilder than that. McGregor could be sniffing up the White Rock.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Let me explain. UFC icon Matt Brown went on an entire rant, calling out Conor's excessive use of alcohol, and yes, drugs too. He also claimed that the Irishman's best days are long behind him. Well, he has a point. If you look at his record, he's lost 3 out of his last 5 encounters, which is kinda sad for someone who's still the face of the company. I mean, what's that all about? I'll get to that in a second. But first, let's talk about Brown's interview with Michael Bisping, where he basically revealed what everyone has been feeling about Conor lately, calling out drug addiction, which includes him being juiced out of his mind. And what did McGregor have to say in his defense? The Irishman simply tweeted, "Matt Brown, heroin addict." Damn, that's one way to handle an accusation. And this isn't the first time he's been accused of substance abuse. Game-bred Jorge Masvidal told MMA Fighting that the only thing that can get the former champ out of bed is shooting up that snow. Heck, even Joe Rogan jumped on the bandwagon on his podcast. He spoke on one of Conor's most iconic moments, that infamous bus attack on Khabib's team. Joe speculates that it wasn't the result of some proper 12, but some good old powder that got McGregor's head all crazy.
I don't know if that's true. This is a lot of people are speculating, not just me. And then when you look at the USADA testing pool and the fact that he's not in it, that also comes into. So,
look, Conor may deny all he wants. How can he possibly explain those smudges on the mirror? Yep, in a video where he's seen vacationing with his mother, Conor goes over to his iPad to change up some tunes, and beside the device, you can see a mirror with some suspiciously white smudges on them. Fans were quick to call out Conor for snorting up some yayo. Well, the fact of the matter is, Conor could be needling himself away or blowing up some nose candy, and still he'll always be Dana's boy. That's right. When Brown pointed out that Conor may very well be juicing, well, he called it. Everyone had their eyes set on the deadline for fighters to jump in the USADA testing pool, because to be able to compete, they need to be in USADA's pool for at least 6 months. And guess what? When the deadline finally arrived, there was absolutely no sign of McGregor. Yep, the man ghosted USADA. Anyway, there should have been no reason for Conor to miss out on the pool, unless he's on that good stuff, you know what I mean? Needless to say, fans were outraged at this, but not more so than Michael Chandler. He posted a video of himself with the caption, "Where the fuck is that guy?" Seriously, all that smack talk for what? As controversial as this news was, the tea was about to get hotter. Wait, Dana White said. What? That's right. The UFC president is known for his diplomatic replies. I mean, he's here to run a business, isn't he? But news broke that the president pretty much confirmed there's such a thing as Dana White privilege in the UFC. And you may ask yourself, what's Dana White privilege? Well, in the fighter dictionary, the term stands for doing whatever the f you want to do in the UFC because your name is Conor McGregor. Apparently, Dana White was being accused of dropping the F-bomb on USADA itself, saying that he could care less about what they think of Conor. Oh, snap. Anywho, this news had fans call Dana out on his BS, considering his attitude toward PED usage in the past. But don't worry, we'll get to that in just a second. In a press conference at UFC 290, the UFC prez was asked about the Chandler versus Conor fight, and the boss went ham on the reporters who broke the news, saying that it wasn't remotely close to what he actually said, and that he would never disrespect USADA like that. Okay, fine, so maybe you didn't just insult the official anti-doping body of the United States, but what about Conor blatantly missing out on the pool? Well, if you were expecting an explanation from White, he straight out said, "We'll see what happens, so I don't know." That reply, right there, is the problem. It's clear we know Dana. He's playing all diplomatic here again. But oh, this is where he really needed to step the f up and show his authority as the boss. But no, why would he? That's McGregor right there. He wanted to remain hush-hush on the whole situation, because God forbid he rubs the Irishman the wrong way. Hey, remember the time Dana literally told the fighters to own up to their PED usage? Yeah, Yep, Dana has always vouched to create a drug-free environment within the company, which is the hallmark of every successful business. There is no question that Conor has more juice than a Capri Sun in him. Yet, Dana fails to acknowledge or address the fact that his biggest fighter is riding up. Now that is just hypocritical. On top of that, remember how he gave Oscar De La Hoya for snorting cocaine? But when it comes to Conor, he doesn't bat an eye. Look, from a business standpoint, I understand. Conor really is the face of the business, and is one of those athletes that have always backed up their arrogance with stellar performances. Heck, he's a former 2-division champ, and you can say, before his loss against Khabib, he was just downright unstoppable. His charm, charisma on the microphone, and iconic Billy Strut made him a pop sensation. The man is appearing in a freaking movie alongside Jake Gyllenhaal. Any stain on Conor's reputation will instantly affect the UFC stock. It'll be like Vince McMahon confirming pro wrestling is actually fake. Now, I hope you understand why he chose to not say anything about Conor's PED usage. As for the alleged drug addiction, it's even absurd to think Dana would push Conor's buttons and rat him out when he's enjoying life. Guess Dana just wants him to recover. Look, I don't know if you know, but Conor is coming back from a near career-ending injury. McGregor may smile about having titanium screwed into his shin, but the fact of the matter is, we would have seen the curtain fall on Conor long ago. UFC vet TJ Dillashaw came at McGregor's defense, saying he was actually right to miss USADA's pool. That may sound pretty controversial, but the dude has a point. Speaking to Brendan Schaub, he vented out how athletes literally do not get any downtime in their career. They're tested for 365 days a year, and if you have an injury, you barely get any time to heal. In the case of Conor, steroids wasn't just an option, it was a necessity if he needed to keep his career alive. Even Joe Rogan pointed out how he's seen careers end after a leg injury like that. You know, after he controversially said that Conor's piss could melt a USADA cup. But anywho, if you think about the situation from Conor's perspective, you can see why Dana would defend his superstar like that. Look, the fact of the matter is, you don't need to be Grigory Rodchenkov to know that Conor is, in fact, juicing. As soon as he dropped pictures of his new physique, the internet was up in storm. While most were going gaga over Conor's boulders, you could tell this wasn't normal of him. Once you've been in the MMA community long enough, you can tell whether a fighter is natty or not. Mind you, a common side effect of steroids is also aggression, which explains why Conor knocked the NBA mascot's lights out. Sure, all that new muscle is dope and all, but what's the point if you can't really use them? The only time you do see him in action is as a coach on The Ultimate Fighter. Spoiler alert, Conor, the PEDs aren't gonna boost your fighter IQ, just saying. And even though Dana remains hush-hush on the entire situation, Conor finally broke his silence as he replied to a fan asking when we will be seeing the return of the Mac. Conor simply replied, December. Wait, is that even legal? The only way Conor gets through with this is if he is granted an exemption by USADA for the testing pool requirement, and with Conor's case, I think they'll understand. If not, you bet Dana will be at USADA's doorstep pulling a few strings. So, from still standing by him despite his clear steroid and PED abuse, to the president looking the other way with Conor's constant run-ins with the law, that was how Dana White is protecting a drug cheat.